Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, I did a video on the Monetta, Virginia shooting hoax, the killing of news anchor Anderson Parker and cameraman Adam Ward supposedly. For those with eyes to see, it was a very obvious hoax. It didn't require any decoding. But I decoded the story, as I always do. Again, that's one of the main things I'm teaching here on this video blog, how all of these stories are created with coded numbers. And I thought I did a good job of explaining that yesterday. In the connections I made, I said the numbers in this story parallel the shootings in Charleston of Walter Scott and the church shooting. And since making that video, the mainstream media has released this 23-page manifesto. And in the manifesto, the shooter supposedly says that he did this killing in revenge for what happened in Charleston. And here, in the decoding I did, I said these stories very much synced up. So anybody who's a skeptic of my work, a critic of my work, please pay more careful attention. Not only am I right about what I decoded yesterday, I'm also right about what I've been asserting since the very beginning of this video blog, talking about how these same numbers get coded over and over. Let's watch this ABC news reporting talking about his motivations for the killing. And then I want to show you what else I've decoded, because I've taken a deeper look at all the details and I found some more findings. So here we go, Truth Seeker, from ABC.
Lester Flanagan was known on air as local TV reporter Bryce Williams. Here he is in one of his stories holding a gun, a man slowly descending toward madness.
Some point in his life, it would appear things were...
Look at how the TV just says things to put shit in your mind. Here he is holding a gun, descending towards madness. They just showed us footage of him doing news reporting. They just want to put these phrases and tell you how to think. And for the most part, the media is very effective because most people in this nation don't think for themselves. They think through the TV. They think through what they're told without ever questioning.
Spiraling out of control.
The former TV reporter targeted the television crew when they were most vulnerable. A live report. Even used his skills to film the murders and to post them on social media.
What is somewhat unique, you have an individual, a journalist by trade, who not only carried out a workplace attack, but then used the tools of his trade to communicate about that attack.
A man identifying himself as Flanagan faxed what he called a suicide note to ABC News at 8:26 this morning, nearly 2 hours after the shooting.
Look at this, Truth Seeker. It's just so in your face. The shooting happened on August 26th, 2015, and they're trying to tell us that he uploaded the video at 8:26, just like the date. And the thing about 26 is, for one, it's the God number, a very important number, but it also has a numerology of 8. So this is a lot like 8-8. Yesterday was 8th month, 26th day, but 26 in numerology is 2 plus 6 is 8. And the year 2015, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 5 is also 8. So a date with a numerology of 8, 8, 8. All right, here we go, Truth Seeker.
It shows a deeply angry man laying out his grievances. Why did I do it? The church shooting in Charleston was the tipping point. But my anger had been building steadily. I'd been a human powder keg for a while, just waiting to go boom. Flanagan's list of grievances was long. He noted in a manifesto that he had been fired from the station of the murdered television crew. He claimed the cameraman complained about him to management, that he was a victim of racism, and...
Truth Seeker, I just want to let you know that the word cameraman has gematria of 33. The cameraman's very central in this. They also say that Vester Lee Flanagan is gay. Gay is another word with 33 gematria, and 33 is one of these numbers they love to code in the hoax. The cameraman gently setting his camera down, and then a few trickles of blood in the background is a major sign of how this was a movie scene. And also, this scene took place in Monetta, Virginia, where the movie What About Bob was once filmed. So this is a movie town.
Sexual harassment. He suggested that he was mistreated because he was a gay black man.
Eventually, after many incidents of his anger coming to before we dismissed him, and he did not take that well.
In the suicide note, Flanagan expresses admiration for mass murderers, specifically the Columbine killers and the Virginia Tech shooter, whom he said
Truth Seeker, at Virginia Tech, 33 people were killed. Columbine school shooting is all coded by the numbers, full of 33 and a whole lot more. I've decoded all of these things on my written blog and on my video blog. Please take the time to watch. The more you study this, the more you see how redundant they are with the coding in these shootings. That's how I know what I am not reporting is a fluke. And also, you should know that I took the time to record this and write it out for a year straight before I started making any videos. I made sure my research was on point before I brought it to the masses. I'm someone who's responsible with my work. All of you people who come here and attack me and say I'm crazy and reporting nonsense, the truth is you're a fucking moron. Because only fucking morons believe anything in the media in 2015. On my timeline, anybody who's trusted anything in the media from the day after September 11th is a fucking moron without exception. Sorry to those of you who woke up later. What I'm saying is truth.
he knew, and in one of his final callous gestures, a man claiming to be Flanagan called ABC News in New York around 10 a.m. and said he shot 2 people. He hung up, and we contacted the authorities. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.
All right, so there was ABC's reporting, connecting it to the Charleston shooting. I just want to go back and show you what a giant joke this Charleston shooting was. Dylan Stormroof, a completely ridiculous name, almost as ridiculous as Vester Flanagan, the accused shooter with numbers coded all over him, got a 33 count indictment. This number that they code into every single hoax, 33. 33 is a very important number to the Masons. Notice that the shooting at the church happened on Calhoun Street. Calhoun has Jewish gematria of 322. Think about Yale's Skull and Bones. The graduates of that are referred to as bonesmen, a word with 33 gematria. It is a Masonic fraternity. The word Masonic has gematria of 74. The Masons worship the number 33. The name Dylan Stormroof has gematria of 74. He was arrested on Interstate 74. Bible study class, which he shot up, has gematria of 74. I forgot to write the founder of the church. His name has gematria of 74. The shooting came exactly 74 days after the Walter Scott shooting. Walter Scott and South Carolina have identical gematria. All these shootings by the numbers. All of them. My point is Vester Lee Flanagan, his story about getting revenge for the church shooting, this is just another scripted narrative by these same Masonic Zionists who bring us all these shooting hoaxes and are feeding the nation a false narrative that leads to gun reform, but also a whole lot more. We're going to talk more about mental illness and how they always bring up that point too. Anyway, to transition points, I want to look at this town, Monetta, Virginia. It's on the 37th parallel north by the 79th meridian west, and that number 79 stands out right away. The word murder has gematria of 79. This is a murder story. Also, they're calling it the Roanoke shooting now. Roanoke shooting is what has become the name. Look at the gematria of Roanoke, Truth Seeker. 79, just like the coordinates of the town of the shooting. Notice that Roanoke has Jewish gematria of 236, just like Parker, and the biggest focus in terms of the deceased has been Allison Parker, the woman who reminds us of Robbie Parker. Also, True Seeker, when they went back to the studio after the shooting, they showed this woman, this blonde-haired lady with her mouth open, acting like she was completely surprised. Her name is McBroom. McBroom has the gematria of 79. Remember, all these news anchors have fake, phony names. Names coded by the numbers, which is even a detail in this story. They say the man who did the shooting was known as Bryce Williams on air, but off air his real name was Vester Lee Flanagan, supposedly. With regards to 79 and murder, the town of Monetta has also fateful gematria. Monetta has gematria of 68. Again, caskets go 6 feet deep and are 8 feet long. The shooter, Vester Lee Flanagan, look at this name in Pythagorean gematria. It sums to 68. Vester Lee Flanagan. The name Barack Obama in simple English gematria sums to 68. He's the 44th president. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on 4/4, April 4th in 68. The last president to die in office was the 44th term president, John F. Kennedy. The first president to ever die in office died on 4/4. He was the 9th president, William Henry Harrison, the first Whig. 44 is the kill number. Numbers associated with death, often coded around death. If you saw my video yesterday, we talked about the person who gave all the details had name gematria of 44. You can go back and look at that in a second. I noticed that this town Moneta is on Route 122. We often find this number 122 coded around tragedy and things that provoke. The church shooting in Charleston brought about the Confederate flag debate. Confederate flag has that gematria of 122. 122, a number that's been coded into a whole lot of stories recently, from plane crashes to assaults and more. Could even say it's part of this shooting. This town being on Route 122, where What About Bob was filmed 24 years ago. I'd like to see the birthday of Allison Parker. It's probably the same day the movie What About Bob released. Very small town, sub 10,000 people. In the video footage of the killing, there's nobody else showing except for all the participants, the cameraman, the anchor, the interviewee, and the shooter. Only 4 people. Desolate town. Notice that Moneta has Jewish gematria of 226. It made me think about the shooter's name, Vester Flanagan. V is the 22nd letter, F is the 6th. His initials are 226, like the location of the shooting. Also, think about the initials of the shooter. AP for Allison Parker. Think about AP in news, AP in Reuters. A is the first letter, P is the 16th. AP forms 116 or 911 upside down. The cameraman AW, A is the first letter, W is the 23rd. His initials are 123, like the word conspiracy having gematria of 123. The interviewee who got shot but lived is named Vicky Gardner, V the 22nd letter again, G the 7th, 227, a number often coded into hoaxes. If you divide 22 by 7, it gives you the number for pi, which has to do with cycles and circles. And all of these shooting hoaxes are on cycles and circles, like a broken record. One orchestrated story after the next that sync up with each other as I'm showing. Yesterday I said this shooting connected to the Charleston shootings. Then they give us the details that in the manifesto he blames it on the Charleston church shooting, what he's doing. Also, his on-air initials, BW for Bryce Williams, form 223. B the second letter, W the 23rd. The word Masonic in Jewish gematria is 223. Masonic in simple English gematria is 74, the number coded all over the Charleston shootings. Also, the synagogue of Satan, known as the false Jews, the Zionist Jews, the Jews who control our media, they go by this number, 223, the reverse of 322, skull and bones. And when they gave us the 33 count indictment, they were sure to let us know that the details came at 322, just like the gematria of the shooting or the street that the shooting happened on, Calhoun Street. Numbers so routinely coded. Also, this shooting came as a distraction in the wake of markets crashing worldwide. Granted, the day of the shooting, the market had a major spike upwards, but notice that market and Moneta have identical gematria. Market, Moneta. Moneta sounds like money. Markets are about money. They say the shooting happened at 6:46 in the morning. The name Vester Flanagan without the Lee has gematria of 64. 64. And what's interesting, Truth Seeker, is in most of these shootings, The shooter is not black. It's very rare for there to be a black shooter in these reported mass killings. And if you listen to black talk radio show hosts, they often bring up this point, how it's always crazy white people. Somebody who likes to do this is Mark Thompson, whose radio show I called into, and there's a video you can listen to my call when I called into Mark Thompson. But he's always making the point about how it's just crazy white people who do these shootings. Yesterday, he was dumbfounded and didn't know what to say because the shooter was black. The reason I'm bringing this up is because 64 is an important number for black Americans and civil rights. The Civil Rights Act happened in 64. Civil rights has gematria of 64, just like the name Barack Hussein Obama, just like the name Vester Flanagan. Coincidence? I don't think so. Look at what time the manhunt went until 11:30 or 113 when he was arrested on Interstate 66. Route 66 was the first ever highway in this nation. Route 66 has a gematria of 66. 66, a very important number, a number coded often in the hoax as a spiritual number, a number important to this nation. Also, with regards to that number and the time, 646, the news network WDBJ7, where everybody involved is connected to this network, has gematria of 46. Just like 646. See how it works, Truth Seeker? All these stories are built by the numbers. The names are built by the numbers. It's all coding. So I was talking about yesterday how in all the recent shootings they've been coding the number 58. Allison Parker, the victim who's gotten the most attention, name gematria of 58. Bridgewater, the location it happened at, 58 gematria. A number they're coding oh so heavily into shootings right now, in which I've been documenting on this video blog. It's not like I'm just pulling this out of thin air. Yesterday, CNN had this psychologist on their TV all day named Jeff Gardere. Jeff Gardere was on TV on CNN all day yesterday talking about mental illness, mentally ill people having guns, an ongoing theme in all these shootings. Look at his name, Jeff Gardere, 58 Pythagorean gematria, 85 simple English, the reflection of 58. I've been talking about how they've been coding both 58 and 85, and his name Gardere in simple English gematria, yet another 58. And of course the number was coded into the shooting as well. We just talked about how the manhunt ended at 11:30, 113. The number's so often coded in the hoaxes. Now we get to see this man going before the TV claiming to be the father of Allison Parker, and perhaps he is. Maybe he's also a Masonic man, part of the hoax. Perhaps he knows his daughter's just fine and just wants to go on TV and spew the bullshit anyway, just like how his daughter was a willing participant in this hoax. Look at his name, Andy Parker. Name gematria of 113, like mainstream, green screen, dishonest. In the Bava Kama, A113 says a Jew can circumvent a Gentile, which is a non-Jew, by lying to them. And think about how all these words have gematria of 113, including dishonest. Of course, Parker is that name that goes back to the Newtown shooting. There's also a lot of parallels between this and Newtown. It was Robbie Parker, the first parent to come out and speak about the death of his daughter, Emily Parker, and he asked for donations on his Facebook account. Both the names Robbie and Parker have gematria of 33, as does Robert. And let me show you something about Newtown, Truth Seeker, in case you're new here. In Pythagorean gematria, N, E, and W all break down to 5, T breaks down to 2, O breaks down to 6, and W and N also 5 again. Newtown sums to 33, and notice how there's only a 2-6 in it besides all 5s. If you're new here, N's the 14th letter, 1 plus 4 is 5, E's the 5th, W's the 23rd, 2 plus 3 is 5. You just reduce each letter to a single digit and add, so it's all 5s and a 26. Also, the shooter in that was named Adam Lanza. One of the victims here is Adam Ward, but I want you to notice the name Lanza in simple English gematria. L is the 12th letter. A is the first. We're going to get rid of the A's. We're going to drop the A's. N is the 14th letter. Z is the 26th. A is the 1, but we're getting rid of A's. So we're left with 12, 14, 26. The Newtown shooting happened on 12/14, and there were 26 victims. Of course, 26 is the God number, one of these Masonic numbers. Just showing you how all of these shootings are coded numbers that sync up with the event, that sync up with the location. It's so redundant. Let's watch this lying asshole. Let's notice that he's being interviewed by Chris Cuomo, CC33, and they're coming on TV at 8:33. Not a coincidence. This is how it's all done. So synced up by the numbers. These people don't play. CNN broadcast from the 33rd parallel, founded by Robert Turner III. Both the names Robert and Turner have gematria of 33. His birthday is November 19th, 1938, a date with 33 numerology. I know this stuff well because I've been studying it for years and documenting it. These people are the biggest broken record on the planet. Here we go.
Part of how you want your daughter to be remembered is that you want something to come out of this situation. You were very strong last night when you were talking about how you think we need to be better after a situation like this. What do you want now?
Well, her life was cut short. She had so much potential, and it's senseless that her life and Adam's life were taken by a crazy person with a gun. And
Excuse me, got interrupted. Let us continue.
If I have to be the John Walsh of
I just want to pause right there. John Walsh is a complete fraud. Think about the initials JW 10 plus 23, 33. He has a show on CNN called The Hunt, which has gematria of 33. Almost every single week, the wanted person has a 33 name gematria. This is what they do in the United States with the TV. Constant fear-mongering, constant lies with coded numbers. And if you take the time to watch the videos I'm putting out, this information becomes completely undeniable very quickly. These people are complete frauds, so transparent once you know what to look for.
gun control, and look, I'm for the Second Amendment, but there has to be a way to force politicians that are cowards and in the pockets of the NRA to come to grips and make sense, have sensible laws so that crazy people can't get guns. It can't.
Again, truth seeker. The 114th Congress has put a bill together that has not been voted on, H.R. 923. It is about limiting who can have guns. If there is an event planned for September 23rd when the Pope and Obama meet, perhaps that will be the event that comes to a head that gets this legislation through. But this is all part of an agenda, and that's why the media wages these hoaxes. As for the NRA, they're also part of these gun hoaxes. With each new shooting hoax, gun sales increase, bullet sales increase. NRA, 14 plus 18 plus 1, more 33 gematria. Just like police, just like the establishment date of the FBI, just like all the entities that work against us in each of these hoaxes.
Be that hard, and yet politicians from the local level to the state level to the national level, they sidestep the issue. They kick the can down the road. This can't happen anymore because Allison was one of you guys. This has got to hit home for journalists, and if journalists are targets, and we're not talking about someone going to Syria and being in the crosshairs of ISIL. We're talking about two young people that were doing a benign story about a marina opening or celebrating.
Just think about this guy being willing to come out the next day after his daughter supposedly shot down and talk so clearly about gun control. This is just part of one of the ongoing themes of these ridiculous hoaxes. You think this guy would be tore up at home thinking about his daughter, not wanting to go on the news and be political?
And someone, and a crazy person with a gun shoots them. And I know that the NRA, their position is going to be, I can hear it now, they're going to say, oh, gee, well, if they were carrying, this never would have happened. I got news for you. If Allison or Adam had been carrying an AK-47 strapped around their waist, it wouldn't have made it any difference. They couldn't have seen this thing coming. So,
Whoa, did he just say they couldn't have seen this thing coming? Anybody who's watched the video watched the shooter walk right up to him, point the guns right in their face, mutter the word bitch, and nobody even budged a hair. It was a very obvious scene, set, acting job. Just, you literally have to be a moron to be fooled by any of this.
I don't want to hear that argument from the NRA, and you know that's going to happen. And I'm going to take it on. I got a call from Governor McAuliffe yesterday, and I told him exactly what my plan was. If I have to be a crusader on this, I'm not going to rest until I see this something happen. And he said, Andy said, you go for it. I'm right there with you. We've got to have our legislators and our congressmen step up to the plate and stop being cowards about this.
And he uses the word cowards twice when he is surely a coward himself, going before the mainstream and lying. Again, yesterday this shooting took place on a date with 88 and 888 numerology. CNN loves to put up their coded headlines. Our Hearts Are Broken has gematria of 88. Also 97 with the S exception, the reflection of 79, numbers central in the stories we begin with, Roanoke, murder, etc. Some more Masonic coding. No making sense. If you learn to do gematria on the phrases that they put the emphasis on, they always have the coded numbers. No making sense has gematria of 56, 65, and 74. This makes me want to bring up a point. I made a mistake yesterday in my calculations. It's only the second or third time out of the nearly 700 videos I've done that I've been aware of a mistake. But I said the name Flanagan equaled 66, and he was arrested on Interstate 66. He was arrested on Interstate 66, but the name Flanagan has gematria of 56, a number with 11 numerology. And if you sum 1 through 11, it totals 66, but not 66 just like Interstate 66. Anyhow, Knights Templar, the original Masons, have gematria of 64, and Masonic has gematria of 74. Knights Templar is also 74 with the S exception. So very Masonic headlines, very Masonic coding. I think these are messages to the people in the know, letting them know who's responsible for the shenanigans. They also threw up these headlines, CNN, radiant, delightful. The word radiant has gematria of 67, this number that corresponds with women. I talked about how in yesterday's video, the number 67 was heavily coded in. The name Allison Parker equals 67. They're calling her radiant. All this stuff, all by the numbers, Truth Seeker. Parker and a cameraman, 3333. And again, another point I bring up, the stuff that they put in TVs often syncs up so well with what's in the news. TV, movies, news, they all come from the same gang, this group of Zionist Masons who control the outlets that dominate our lives. So many people are obsessed with news, TV programming. Look at this. Mr. Robot finale postponed after Virginia shooting due to similar graphic scene. Instead, they're going to re-air it September 2nd, next Wednesday, the date with 46 gematria, matching the news network. Probably all part of the plan all along. 9/2/2015, a date with 46 numerology, just like the news network this story is all centered around. Here's What About Bob. The movie was filmed in 91. It released on a date with 113 numerology, a number they love to code in their movies as well. Bill Murray. Murray's a name with 33 gematria. The shooting happened where this film was shot. There's already a Wikipedia page up for this, Truth Seeker. If you read Wikipedia, they love to stick some of their favorite numbers in here. They want to tell us the shooting was 26 miles or 42 kilometers from Roanoke. Favorite numbers, Truth Seeker. 27-year-old dies. 24 is broken down into 3/8, 888. Again, yesterday had 888 numerology. 61-year-old Vicky Gardner survives. 61, the God number in Jewish gematria. The number coded all over the Charleston church shooting. The word church has gematria of 61. And also yesterday, Truth Seeker, they froze my video for a long period of time at 888 views on the date with 888 numerology. Even the people filtering the videos are working by the numbers, Truth Seeker. The gang is watching. So that's pretty much the latest message. Just wanted to give you these updated details. Every single shooting hoax, or I should say every single shooting story in the mainstream media, almost all without exception are hoaxes by the numbers. If you're new here, please check out my other videos. If you're a skeptic, fair enough, but after you watch a few more videos, you're not going to be. This stuff is a lock. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.